All right, what is up? We are live. Kyle Larson wins another one, which actually puts him on top in the points. We're going to get to all that. Let's run through the finishing order while everybody sort of files in here. And then we'll go over the points real quick. Kyle Larson wins it. He wins both stages. He maximizes his points. He did everything you could do here. Tyler Reddick, though, he didn't give it to him easy. Tyler Reddick doing everything he absolutely could. And there was an interesting moment in the race where it was NASCAR 06 total team control, where Bubba Wallace was pushing Tyler Reddick in that middle of the last stage there. So that was pretty funny and pretty interesting too. I don't think we really need to make a rule about that or say too much about it, because how often is your teammate going to be that far, that many laps down, and that situation is going to play out? But some people are going to raise sand over it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny situation. Ryan Blaney carrying the banner for Ford here today, finishes in third place. Ross Chastain with that two-tire strategy there at the end. Of course, getting that fourth place finish. Ty Gibbs, that awful pit stop where he lost first gear and just everything went wrong. The tire went rolling. He recovers from all of that to get fifth place finish. Noah Gragson ends up finishing sixth. He ran pretty good for the entire last segment of that race. So he really he needed that finish. And we do have a poll question about Stewart Haas Racing, so I'll get to that in just a minute. But good run for SHR, good run for Noah Gragson there. He's run good all season, except for last race when he was running good, but got involved in a wreck. Martin Truex Jr. finishes seventh. He was pretty strong today. Denny Hamlin also pretty strong today. All the Toyotas were strong. Just Kyle Larson had a little bit too much for him there. And then, of course, had track position at the end, although Reddick was the faster car. The Joey Logano ends up finishing ninth. So good recovery from him after wrecking basically the first two races of the season. William Byron finishing 10th there. And Daniel Suarez is 11th. Chase Elliott is 12th. Brad Keselowski 13th. Kind of a quiet day for him. Quiet day for Eric Jones. He qualified poorly. He ran in the back for most of at least the first stage. He's kind of that like out of nowhere guy. So he ends up 14th. Carson Hocevar had a good run going. He ends up 15th. He was much higher than that at points. But I think that last caution coming out sort of cost him. Same thing with Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon probably would have had an 11th if the thing had played out without a caution there. But, of course, that's not how it played out. So he ends up 16th, but still a good day for Dillon, especially the way he started out the season. Then you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman 18th, Daniel Hemrick 19th, Josh Berry 20th, Chase Briscoe 21st. Not sure what happened to Chase Briscoe. He seemed to have a better car than that. John Hunter Nemechek 22nd, Ryan Preece 23rd, Todd Gilliland 24th, Michael McDowell 25th, and then Kyle Busch. That's the one I was looking for. Kyle Busch 26th. He continues to have issues on pit road. And that basically is what cost him hit this. Then there was Justin Haley, 27th, Derek Kraus, 28th, Austin Cindric in 29th, same thing. He had a pit road penalty where he was speeding and had to do the pass-through or something like I think it was speeding. Then Harrison Burton, 30th, Kaz Grala, 31st. Corey LaJoie, really good car, but ends up putting it in the fence. Christopher Bell, same thing. He had issues all day. Started off the day really fast, blew a tire. Was able to make that up, then spun by himself and was never able to make it up after that. Ends up 2 laps down, 33rd. Then you got J.J. Yaley, Bubba Wallace, whose lug nut was attached to the rim. They had to cut it off. That's why he was so far back. Then Zane Smith, who that was another tire incident, I want to say. And Christopher Buescher, of course, the lug nut was loose and it cut the wheel off the car. All right, that was your good race, bad race deal, or at least where everybody finished. And now let's look at the top 16 in points. Kyle Larson leads the points over Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr. third, William Byron fourth, Ross Chastain fifth, Kyle Busch is in sixth. He was the points leader. He falls to sixth. Chase Elliott is in seventh. Daniel Suarez eighth. Ty Gibbs is ninth. Suarez and Larson there, of course, locked in. Then you got Denny Hamlin there in 10th, Austin Cindric in 11th, Tyler Reddick in 12th, Alex Bowman 13th, Bubba Wallace 14th. Eric Jones is 15th, and his Legacy Motor Club teammate, John Hunter Nemechek, 16th, last man in. Of course, Corey LaJoie, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Hemrick, Chase Briscoe are your next guys right at the cutoff line. All right, let's see what you all want to talk about in the chat. I do have a poll question up. Who's had the best start to SHR? Who do you think is carrying the team over there? Right now, 63% Noah Gragson, 23% Chase Briscoe, 13% Josh Berry, and no love for Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece getting no love here. 30 votes so far. So get your vote in. We'll see where it stands here after a while. Oh, super chat. What's up, Camaro 50? $5 for the 5. I appreciate you, my friend. There is your fist bump. Yeah, he had a heck of a day. Like I said, max points and all that good stuff. Let's run through these comments and see what you guys are talking about. I answered some of them earlier, so I'm just going to start here. All the Kyles unite, says Bumblebee. Of course, my name being Kyle. We got Say Kyle in the chat, and Kyle Larson winning the race. What's up, Say Kyle? Let's see. Christopher Bill, first to represent the colors of Interstate batteries today. Yeah, it was a good-looking scheme. One of the better-looking schemes Interstate has. Very similar to some of the older ones, but it's always a good time to see that car. Say Kyle, hope you're doing good, says James Schweitzer. Oh, no, we need 4 Kyles. If there's me, BB, and our race winner, the acronym isn't so kosher. Yeah, we need 4 for sure. We've got the Kyle Weatherman, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, me, Say Kyle. There's plenty of Kyles. The Council of Kyle stands. I am currently in a bowl of homemade vegetable soup. Hey, vegetable soup's good. Ross Chastain, Kubota colors. Yeah, that Kubota car, same color as the tractors, looks really good. I like that orange on there, orangish red. Hi, Jamie. How you doing? Thanks. Had to show my car to a potential buyer, so I missed this morning's stream. For those of you who don't know, the Corvette is going away. After Say Kyle badgered me to buy a Corvette instead of a Fiat, he's now selling his. How dare you, sir? I'm just kidding. You got to do what you got to do. I understand, but I know it's sad for you to part ways with it. Any schemes you like today? I did like Corey LaJoy's scheme. I thought that looked good. The Kubota scheme looked good. Like I said, the Interstate batteries always look good. I did like the Columbia scheme. Some people don't. Some people do. I did like the Columbia scheme. I've liked pretty much most of theirs. They have 1 or 2 here now and again that just aren't good, but I did like today's. BB, way to go, Noah. Gregson in the number 10, says OJ, and Toothpaste. RCR needs to dismantle their pit crew, and now Kyle is more screwed with the upcoming short tracks, says Did and Viper. I don't know about dismantling the pit crew, but they definitely need to work on execution. So, yeah, that definitely shot him in the foot. Bruce Reed, re-upping. Appreciate you, my friend. There is the fist bump right there. BB, did you laugh hysterically at the Wendy's Biggie Bag commercials today? Oh, my God, yes. They're so funny. Oh, man. Boy, I'm not tired of the Wendy's commercials at all. Bumblebee saying, what's up to Marcus? Let's see. Mark Barnum, what's up? Byron, team chat on Twitter. I got spicy. He got blocked by a bandwagon loser being nasty to the 24 team admin. He couldn't handle the grind of an SEC schedule. Since I say, Kyle, I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Those team chats can get spicy. So much for the new bodies being an advantage for now anyway, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, I think the Fords, once they figure, Kevin Harvick seemed to make it seem like it's a downforce issue in traffic. I think once the Fords figure that out, I think they'll be super fast because they keep dominating qualifying day, right? So if they can just figure out how to get that speed and put it on the track, I feel like the body is fast. And Toyota has figured it out too, but Toyota seems to be going for like longer runs this season for whatever reason. So that seems to be their deal. Wheel nut issue needs some work for sure. There was it's early in the season though, so there's going to be probably more of those than we'll see at the end of the season. I like Logano's Pennzoil scheme, even though you could say it was the same as 2023. Yeah, the Pennzoil scheme, when it's yellow and black, always gives good vibes. Kind of reminds you a little bit of the old Steve Park deal. 17 crew had their heads up their butt. Oh yeah, he smoked the wall, man. Like he hit the wall so hard it damaged the wall. The wall was hurt. The wall was on the 10-minute timer according to Skew Car. Have to give the weekend a 5 out of 10 for the weekend. Yeah, it was a good finish. A lot of people didn't like the vast majority of the race because they thought it was boring because Kyle Larson dominated. Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon were behind each other in the top 10 during the second half. Yeah, they both had good cars. That pit strategy at the end just sort of didn't go their way. They needed, I guess, a longer run. AJ should still be in the 16 car, says T-Van. I don't think a lot of people would necessarily disagree with that, but they got to do what they got to do to keep the doors open, I guess, would probably be what they counter with. Howdy, I'm sure they want him in there, too. Howdy from Kazakhstan. Good on your boy Larson. Ross got points, but he was sad because he got a speeding ticket, says Robin. For sure, what's up, Canada, and what's up, Robin? But, yeah, definitely a good run for Chastain overcoming the speeding penalty. Where he was trapped a lap down for a good portion, I think, of the second stage, if I'm not mistaken. Despite the aero blocking dictating the finish, NASCAR, despite the gimmicks, is miles better than F1, says Chrome Diesel. As far as on-track, like action and stuff like that, I can't disagree. But F1's a totally different thing. I've never understood why people want to compare them. They're just totally different things. So I'm not going to get into that. I enjoy both of them. I'm not going to I don't want to go into this mentality that you see, well, from my perspective, a lot of F1 people on Twitter have, where they always have to talk bad about NASCAR. I'm going to talk good about both of them. I'm not going to say anything negative about either one. They're just different. Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon both representing BetMGM for sure. And you notice Austin Dillon had the little red on his number so they could differentiate them a little bit better from the spotter stand. BB, did you like the Liberty Mutual commercials? Oh, Liberty Bibberty. Those never get old. I don't know what happened to Briscoe. Had speed early, but just fell off. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to him at the end of the race either. But apparently him and Austin Dillon didn't take off there on that last restart because I feel like Austin Dillon was right there with him too. He was offered, but he wants to run Xfinity. Says Bumblebee, Truex crew or crew chief, screw the pooch yet again. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to him either. Not sure if everyone has Vice, but the dark side of the ring. Season 5 premieres on Tuesday. Those I haven't seen all of them, but yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is pretty good. Good call there, Bruce. I'm an honorary Kyle, says Bumblebee. So there you go. We've got all the Kyles we need to avoid the initial problem, the problem of the acronym with the initials, I guess, or whatever. I liked Byron's horsepower scheme. Hewlett Packard scheme, HP computers. Yeah, the HP computer scheme, pretty cool. The other one, of course, RCR does the Lenovo scheme. I don't know if they've brought that out yet this year or not, but that's the Lenovo scheme. We got the two laptop manufacturers going, at least Windows versions of laptop going after each other. The only thing that could stop Willie B was a trash bag. How crazy was that? Good call, Joseph Wooten. How crazy was that? I've seen a lot of debris in my life, but I've never seen somebody pick up a whole ass trash bag on the front of their car. Like, who loses a whole trash bag? I don't know. You guys that haven't joined the BD Discord yet, you need to. We have a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun on there today, says Camaro 50. Yes, if you want to jump into the Discord, it would be much appreciated. It is a good time if you're into that type of thing. We need a meme song for Kyle Larson, similar to Max Verstappen, says Chrome Diesel. That we might be approaching that territory soon. BB, have you had the Nasty Beast drink yet? I have not partaken of the Nasty Beast just yet. Hi, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? Hope you're doing good today. As always, got the Mavis commercial as well, which I always enjoy. At least that's got a NASCAR driver in it, so I do respect that one. I wish more commercials would have NASCAR drivers in them. Phoenix can be very hit or miss. Hope for a good race for the Cup weekend. Best race of the weekend, all 3 weekends thus far, says Napa Race Fan. Yeah. Phoenix goes either way, so hopefully we get a good one. Mark Barnum was saying, what's up to Cassandra? The Fords need to get their act together in general. Hey, Cassandra says, B. Yeah, Ford has been pretty much just above average. Yeah, they're smoking it on qualifying day, but like when the race comes, like it's like all the speed is gone. And it seems to be, according to Kevin Harvick, a downforce issue in traffic. B, do you think it is do you think this is a make or break year for LaJoy? Probably is a make or break year, but so far he's making it. Like I mean, you can't worry about, spins and stuff like that. He showed he had speed. I don't know what happened at the end, if Brad touched him or if he just lost it by himself. There never was a conclusive angle on that. But either way, I think he's off to a better start than normal. And those cars seem to have a lot more speed than normal. BD, do you like the new Kevin Harvick podcast show? Yeah, for sure. Harvick's good at what he does. He's going to have SVG on there this week, so that'll be cool. What do you think of the Byron getting a trash bag stuck on his nose? His day went to trash after that. Unfortunately, 10th, not bad finish, but the car was capable of winning. I agree with you. He had a car capable of winning, and that for whatever reason, that trash bag took him out of the running there. It's stock car racing. Go back to 5 lugs, says T-Van. Yeah, and the steel wheels at least. At least go back to steel wheels. Ricky Hendrick colors won twice. I'm happy, says Bumblebee. Yeah, good point there, Bumblebee. Good week for Hendrick. HendrickCars.com, because they won the truck race and the cup race. So definitely a good weekend for them. And I saw it earlier in the chat. I forgot who put it in there. But yeah, Kyle Larson just passed Ricky Rudd on the wins list, I want to say. It was at the very beginning of the chat, and I apologize. I forgot who put it up there. But all credits, I think it was Napa. That put it in there. Is Bubba allowed to push his teammate to the lead after being 13 laps down? Says Nathan Hill. They didn't throw a black flag on him, so apparently it is legal. Like I said, there's no need to make a rule about that, because how many times is that actually going to be a situation? How many times is your teammate going to be that many laps down? So, I mean, do we really need a rule for that? I mean, maybe. I doubt it, though. Like, I don't see where it even would have affected it, because they still couldn't push him in front of Kyle Larson, which actually brings up a bigger question: are these cars still too aero sensitive if you can't even get in front of a guy with your teammates pushing you? That's a question for another day, though. LaJoie was looking good for a while since PC gone rogue. Yeah, he was up in the top 5 for a good chunk of the race, or at least top 10. I would absolutely sign off on EB getting honorary Kyle status. Yeah, she's definitely EB Kyle status. Just remember, if you're going to be B1B, Karen is no match for a Kyle, especially when we have the Popeye spinach of Monster Energy drink. Steer clear of the drywall on that particular substance. A couple of ridiculous penalties today. Ross was the worst for over decal peeling off. Says Camaro 50. I didn't see that one. That was pretty crazy. BB, are you going to celebrate Larson's win by drinking a Coors Light? I'm not going to drink anything tonight, but I will probably at some point enjoy a beverage to celebrate the win. F1 is different, but I've noticed over the past years the racing product and their standards have been bad. Yeah, it's definitely not as interesting as it was when I first started watching it. That's all I can say, but I still think there's interest there. LaJoie is an average driver, honestly, which is fine, says Donnie S. Yeah, I mean, until he proves otherwise, I feel like that's a fair statement. I don't see him coming out here and saying I'm the best driver in the world. Maybe his fans do. Maybe he's got like the Pearl Jam effect, where a lot of people like Pearl Jam. A lot of people don't necessarily like Pearl Jam fans because they're just annoying. Say, Kyle, don't deal with Karen's. LOL, says B. I liked Blaney's scheme. Iowa put a spanking on Ohio State, and Caitlin is the GOAT scorer now, says Mar Barnum. So she takes over the all-time scoring deal from Pistol Pete Maravich and NCAA. Don't care. HMS still sucks, says like Mar Barnum. How about 15th for Deegan? Yeah, so Haley Deegan also got a top 15 this week as well. Dylan's red roof number looked like he's eligible for the Winston Noble 5, says Chrome Diesel. That's a fact. That's actually the first thing I thought about when I saw it. Congrats. That and Richard Petty always had that same color on his roof. Congrats on your guy for the W, says NASCAR guy. I appreciate you, my man. Sometimes you think it's not a bad thing to admit that the driver is pretty much average in the case of drivers like LaJoie. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, an average driver at the Cup Series is still going to be better than like most drivers at sort of some of your local deals, at least on pavement. I wouldn't have all these lug nut issues if they just used 5. Time for Ty Dillon to give it up, says T-Van. I mean, I don't know. It's like he ran over something. Maybe it's time for Rackley War to get their cars together, because we still don't even know what Ty Dillon's got over there in trucks. Like, honestly, he's been wrecked out of one of them, and then he ran over some debris or something. So I don't know. Little early for me to blame Ty Dillon for mechanical stuff or being in wrecks or stuff like that. But definitely doesn't have the results yet. I will agree with you on that. She ran good, B, says Mark. If and when SHR and Ford part ways, it's interesting to see if they are the first team to field a Honda Accord. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Is it going to be them or Trackhouse, which I think is like a rumor that I've started myself. But I feel like Trackhouse and SHR seem to be the ones I would look at for Honda sponsorship there. HMS won the last 4 spring Vegas races. Logano, last non-HMS driver to win in 2020. Would have been Elliott that year if not for a blown tire, says Napa Racing fan. Nasty B scheme is another good one. BB, what commercial annoyed you the most today? I don't know. I'm kind of over the Liberty Bibberty stuff. Can they get like a new ad campaign? Sean had a good one when he said it looked like Byron hit Batman. Yeah, for sure. That was in the Discord, by the way. Say, Kyle, it was amazing, but I can't bring myself to drink something called Nasty. That's not happening. Says Say, Kyle. Never seen the Mavis commercial. Wonder if it's a regional or a streaming thing. Toyota Racing needs a driver in their commercial like last year with Martin Truex Jr. I know there's a commercial with Corey Haim representing Toyota in NASCAR and other TRD drivers. Yeah, Jade Edavizian is in that one as well. I am Batman, says Shah. I guess it's supposed to make you nasty drunk. I think they're just saying it's nasty. Like it's really like 90s slang. I guess when somebody had like a really good slam dunk back in the day, people would be like, that's nasty. So it was like nasty in a good way. I guess that's what they're going for, but really, really late in a couple, maybe 3 or 4 decades too late on that protect, because that was like early 90s slang. Anyway, WB William Byron radio, the engine temps at 350 before pitting. Someone at HMS engine shop needs a raise considering that thing made it the distance. I will agree with you 100%, say, Kyle, because I was waiting for that engine to just blow up. I feel like he probably babied it halfway through the race. That's why it took him so long to get back up to the front. Either that or it was just That heat took some of the power out of it. That could be the other issue, but it took him a long time to get back up through the field. The thing was definitely turning. I don't know if he had the same horsepower Larson did due to that overheating. You never know. Things are sensitive. These things, this like 32nd time a wheel has went out since the Gen 7 debut, says Chrome Diesel. I mean, to be fair though, this is because they weren't putting they didn't put the lug nut on properly. So that's kind of on the teams there. Kyle Busch is moving on to Phoenix after Vegas weekend. Would have loved to see him win the truck race, at least compete in the Cup today, even though he had issues on pit road. Yeah, some issues on pit road took him out of both races, or it took his opportunity for both races. I believe the trash bag was in the safer barrier during the Xfinity race Saturday. Came out on lap 21 on the TV camera shot. Oh, so that's somebody left it there. That makes more sense. They probably hung it there to pick up trash and somebody forgot it. That 100% makes more sense. Because I was wondering, like, why would somebody just be walking around with a trash bag? It makes sense that somebody left it during the cleanup from the Xfinity race. 10 looked good in front of the hometown crowd, says Robert Stone. Yeah, so good race for Noah Gragson in front of his hometown crowd for sure. Elliott had what I call the junior effect. He could run dead last every week and will sell enough merch to keep a seat as long as he wants it. Not the only driver that has been able to pull that off. Let's see. Roger Penske was livid with the glove gate debacle. Yeah, Roger Penske does not like cheating at all. And he saw that as cheating, and he thought they should have been smarter about it. So to me, it was like a no big deal thing. But Roger Penske wants to avoid that type of thing at all costs. He's not a big push the limits, push the rules kind of guy. So that's definitely good point there. Elliott scheme was not bad. Yeah, I like the red Elliott scheme. I know some people hated it. I think Brock Beard was very vocal. He didn't like it. I did like the red car. So I was, I guess, in the minority there, or I don't know, maybe we're in the minority, maybe we're in the majority. I don't know. BB was the glove at Penske thing. A mistake? Do you think it did the 22? Know what they were? Oh yeah, they knew what they were doing, but they probably thought it wasn't really like a rule there that would hurt them. They probably just felt like they were innovating. So I don't know. Ross was sent to the rear at the beginning of the race for an illegal adjustment for replacing the decal on the hood, says Camaro. Oh my God, how chintzy can it get? And just to be totally honest with you, the call on Kyle, that was chintzy. Good point, Camaro 50. I didn't know that, or I didn't remember it. But how chintzy was the Kyle Busch call too? Because yeah, technically his splitter was on that line, but I mean, my God, like how chintzy do you want to get about this stuff? But I mean, technically, letter of the law, the splitter was slightly over the line. Like, God, that's chintzy though. That is super chintzy. Should have had Sonoma on the West Coast swing, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have penalized him for it. Like I said, letter of the law, it is he was over the line, but it's still chintzy. I was like, my God. Joshua Saxton, man, Reddick was lame in post race interview, blasting the crew when he lost the race to a better driver. Says Joshua, I didn't see him blast the crew, so I haven't seen. I'll have to look at that interview. But if that's the case, yeah, that's never cool to blast your crew. I do agree with you there. Like I said, I haven't seen the interview, so I'll have to. Just going off that right there. I've been 521 days since Chase Elliott won. He'll get it done this year. That's not going to be an issue, I don't think. But it was interesting that one set of Hendrick cars were faster than the other two. We saw the same thing in the Xfinity race where one set of Joe Gibbs cars were faster than the other set of Joe Gibbs cars. So maybe it was just maybe the cars, the setups were maybe just that close from being perfect to being far off. I just never want to see another Wendy's commercial after that whole 5-minute long Wendy's ad during the 500. Yeah, where they're playing putt-putt or whatever. Monster Energy alcohol drink doesn't sound very healthy. LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't think anything Monster makes is healthy for you, to be fair. Honda really going to use that ugly butt truck in the truck series. Talking about the Ridgeline. T-Van's talking about the Ridgeline. Hey, don't you want to go out and buy a Ridgeline, though? I'll tell you what, T-Van. The Ridgeline might be ugly. And I'm sorry, Ford fans. I'm sorry to say this. But the Maverick, that Ford Maverick, which is the second coming of the Ranchero. They did the Ranchero, no joke, because it's a car truck, let's be honest. The Ford Maverick is probably the most butt-ugly vehicle I've ever seen. Now, don't get me wrong, some aftermarket stuff, I've seen some people make them look decent, but just coming straight from the factory, the Ford Maverick might be top 10. The Aztek's got it beat, but the Ford Maverick slots in right below the Aztek. That's I want to speak my piece on that. I'm sworn not to buy a Wendy's meal after these cringe bag boys. Yeah, I'm not even going to do the song. That's how cringe they are. Laughing my butt off, Camaro 50 says B. Same here, Camaro 50. Do you think some drivers stay at Vegas in the casinos and party and then go to Phoenix? I mean, yeah, for sure. do I think? Like that's a guaranteed. That's almost a guaranteed right there. All of SHR is garbage, says Bob Dole. I don't know about that. I think the drivers are good. I think they're just in another down year for them. But Noah Gregson's carrying the banner for him right now. Tyler found speed at Vegas is one wise guy. Chase Elliott is not going to get replaced at HMS. Just kept Dale Jr. despite not winning for 4 years. Guy's way too popular. Yeah, Chase Elliott's safe. Alex Bowman's the one that seems, from the fans' perspective, seems to always be on the hot seat. McDonald's prices are getting ridiculous. Says like this, like, yeah, it's not going to get any better for them now that they've had to pay their workers a reasonable salary because the CEOs are still not going to lose any money, so they're just gonna pass it on to the customers. So garbage ran sixth. LOL says B, talking about Noah. Defending Noah there. Let's don't be dissing the Wendy's biggie bag. The commercials are funny, says Nicole. Also, Nicole likes I'm not going to say they're not funny, but they're worn out. At this point, they're not funny anymore because they keep repeating them. So yeah, you've actually got a good point. They're always funny the first 2 or 3 times you see them. Then they sort of wear them out. It's like hearing the same joke over and over again. SHR is going to be junk all year. They have no Ford help, says Steve-Ann. Yeah, they're sort of in the same situation Legacy was in last year. Go Larson, big fan of the channel, says Mike Honcho. I like the name there, Mike Honcho. Always a good name when I see your comments on here. Of course, going back to Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights, Mike Honcho being. I'm not going to get into it because I don't think that's YouTube safe. But that was somebody's name for a magazine they posed in that movie. Gregson was one fluke run, and SHR isn't bad now. The rest of the cars were 20th, 22nd, and 26th. So about that Noah's fluke run there. Noah finished 9th at Daytona. He was running in the top 10 in Atlanta before he wrecked and finished 36th. And he finished 6th today. So maybe the rest of the Stewart Haas cars you can make that argument for. But Noah's had speed all season. So I can't say Noah was a fluke. But the rest of the SHR cars, I would agree with you because I got those numbers right in front of me. 23rd, 16th, and 23rd for Priest so far this season. A 10th for Briscoe, a 31st, and a 21st for him. 25th for Josh Berry, 29th for Josh Berry, and today Josh Berry finished 20th. So I will agree with you on the other 3. But I don't think Noah's a fluke. He's actually had speed all season. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Reddick came out 16th after the end of stage 1 pit stops. Says in between, like, yeah, so he worked his way up through there. He was a man on a mission. I think the Speedway package should be on all 1.5 mile tracks like Atlanta last week. It just depends on how it would race. I would have to see how it races. Kevin Harvick could not win in SHR cars last year. It's over, says Bob Dole. Yeah, I'm not saying the cars are good. I'm saying Noah and their particular team are making the most of it. And without Ford, basically, we know they're not going to have Ford support, so they're in the same legacy situation from last year. Are they still using the Hawkeye system for pit violations? Hawkeye system is for whatchamacallit, when they're going through tech. So I don't think they use that on pit road, if I'm not mistaken. Ty Gibbs' crew lost him 44 spots today on pit road. Still came home 5th, says Eric Church. Yeah, that's he overcame all that. The Wendy's commercials are just so annoying because they play them like 20 times a race. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. They were funny the first time you see them, but then they just wear them out. But you know what? Shout out to Wendy's for sponsoring our sports. I don't want to get too aggressive about commercials. Like I'm happy they're sponsoring the sport. Bass Pro Shop commercial. We're probably going to see that same commercial all year round as well. Today the TV video crew did not show again. Failed to pull out for a shot. More cars. Penske just hate to get caught. Did you know that when Trans Am Racing they acid dipped the whole car? Yeah, back in the day, Trans Am Racing was almost as bad as NASCAR about stuff like that. Acid dipping a car is super bad because it ruins the roll cage. It makes it way brittle, even though it makes it lighter. It just really weakens the roll cage. So that's always a bad thing to do. I watched Black Flags Matter live stream during the races in between. Like, yeah, so basically. If you want to during the race, you can watch Darian do his live stream. He is really good. It's pretty funny. He always brings a lot of flavor to it. So if you want to check out Darian's live stream while the race is going on, I would encourage you to do that. Especially maybe you're out of town and you can't find the race on TV. Just watch it with Darian, and that'll be a good time there. BB, what's your favorite meal from McDonald's? I like the chicken. I'm a chicken nuggets guy, so I'm pretty boring. I do the chicken nuggets either with barbecue sauce, or sometimes I'll do the chicken nuggets with honey. That's sort of my go-to, and I don't even get the meal. I just get the chicken nuggets and keep rolling. I believe the Ford Maverick is based on the Ford Bronco Sport platform. I don't know. You could be right. I thought it was based on a car chassis, but I could be totally mistaken. I thought it was. I thought it was based on like the Ford Focus platform or something like that. I tell you what, we have the power of the internet, so let's pull it up. It's still a car truck though because it's front wheel drive. So that's actually what I was talking about there. It's probably if I had to guess, actually, it's probably based on like a Ford Escape or something like that. Wikipedia let me down as always. Ford Maverick truck wiki. Alrighty. Yep, you're right. It's based on the Ford Bronco Sport, the Ford Escape. So it is. We were both right. I said the Ford Escape. It's also based on the Ford Focus. So we're actually all right. So I didn't know that though. The Ford Escape and the Ford Focus are the same chassis as the Ford Bronco Sport. So there you go. The more you know. But it is front wheel drive. That's why I call it a car truck, just like the Honda Ridgeline is a car truck. Good call there. Who was that? Who were we talking to? In between the lanes. Good call there. We were both right, but I didn't know the Ford Bronco Sport was the same thing as the Focus and the Escape. So there you go. We all learned something today. We learned things on this channel in spite of ourselves and very definitely in spite of me. Larson's kid stole my heart. The cutest thing I've ever seen in NASCAR, says Jamie Swartz. Yes, it was a really cool moment with Owen there when he was able to celebrate in victory, or the start-finish line victory thing they do now. I heard the Ford Mavericks are having a lot of issues, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, I mean, anytime there's a newer car, it's going to take them a while to shake it out. Yeah, unfortunately, SHR may be in a lame duck year, but a change of scenery is needed. They need to sell at least one charter, says Donnie S. I think they will maybe move off of a charter if it's the right situation, but I don't think that charter is going to leave their shop. I'll put it to you that way. Let's see, because I think Dale Jr. might buy into it. So they might sell a charter technically, but I think it'll all still stay together. I think that's the only way they sell a charter. I said last year when Bowman, plus Tony Stewart's come out and said he's not selling. I said last year when Bowman hurt his back, it's a hard thing to come back from. These cars are super tough. At this point, I wonder if he will ever be the same. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. He ran good in that one stage, and he had some speed. They just didn't have the same speed as the 24 and the 5 today. SHR's future is murky. BB, will Ty Gibbs get a win this year? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I do think Ty Gibbs gets a win this year. Did they pass post-race inspection? Says one wise guy. I don't know. I'm not gonna wait up for post-race inspection because I did that at Daytona and I paid for it. Noah has already raced better than all the races. If they didn't pass post-race inspection, I will definitely make a video about that when I wake up in the morning. Noah has already raced better than all of the races at Legacy, says T-Van. Yeah, he's definitely had the better finishes for sure. I think he's tied one race, 6th place, that he had with Beard Motor Oil, but he's definitely he's already surpassed everything he did at Legacy. How do you lose first gear like Ty Gibbs did? I don't know, but according to Ty Gibbs, if they were still building the transmissions, it wouldn't be an issue. So, BB, what's better, Cactus Cooler or Squirt? Cactus Cooler. I do like Cactus Cooler better, but Squirt's a really good drink. Squirt's the best grapefruit drink ever made, and Cactus Cooler is the best West Coast Cactus Cooler drink ever made. Does anybody else just mute the TV during ads? Mute and talk, just discuss the race. I don't remember any of these ads, says Joshua. I think most of the time when an ad comes on, people just get up and do something else. And then when they hear the race cars come back, they're like, oh, hey, the race is back on. That's typically been my experience. The Busher incident occurred. The only reason I'm so locked into the commercials now is because I'm trying to pay attention to every moment in the race because I don't want to miss something and come in here and be like, yeah, I totally missed that because I was not paying attention to the race. The Busher incident occurred during a commercial break, I believe. I heard that during Black Flags Matter live stream. Yeah, Fox was at commercial when Chris Busher hit the wall for sure. Ford Maverick is good in cities. I believe it's a nice, a little small truck. Yeah, I like the concept of it. I just don't like the way it looks. Like, I think the whole idea of it is like really great. It's a fuel efficient truck. It's under $20,000 or right around $20,000. So it's good, cheap, affordable transportation. It's got the truck bed in the back for very, very light duty stuff. And if you need to save money on gasoline or whatever, there is a hybrid option. There have been certain results about that. Some people say that the other version gets better gas mileage over the hybrid, so that it's somewhat controversial. Or the number they listed, they said it can get like 35 and it only gets 32. I don't know. I was reading something on Car and Driver. I read all these things and I get them mixed up. But there seems to be that whatever they claim the fuel mileage is, it's like two gallons per mile under that or something. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look it up. But the concept of the car is amazing. The concept is a good idea. They just need to make it less ugly. Could they make it less ugly? That's all I'm asking. The 5 and the 24 competing for wins. The 9 and the 48 need to step it up. It'd be nice to see Bowman do well in his home race as an Napa fan. I think they'll get back. I think all of Hendrick will get going in the right direction. BBD like the new Bronco Sport. I don't like the Bronco Sport. I like the Bronco. The Bronco Sport, I'm not a big fan of. It's like you've got two Ford Escapes. And that's why, like, I basically knew that it had to be based on the Ford Escape and the Ford Focus now, which is like a little small SUV. I just, if the regular Bronco didn't exist, the Bronco Sport might look cooler. But because the actual Bronco exists, I can't look at those two side by side and be like, the Bronco Sport is awesome. Because the Ford Bronco, just the regular Bronco, is just way better looking. And the regular Ford Bronco, they've kind of figured out, they've got a new package for it so that when you're doing off-road stuff with it, you won't break there was something on the steering, maybe the tie rods or something on the steering. They were breaking, so they've come out with a beefier package for that you can buy. For an extra $2,000, you can have a Bronco that can actually go off-road. How dangerous is Larson and Cliff Daniels now making the playoffs this early? Oh, yeah. Like same situation we were talking about with Suarez and Trackhouse, right? Now you've got the rest of the season to sort of figure out 10 races, right? So I think that's cool. And it's Kyle Larson, so he's going to try to win every race anyway. But you got the rest of the season to focus on the end of the year. So definitely puts him in a good spot. Let's see. And let's just be honest about the Bronco, just to finish that off. I'm not dissing it. How many people that buy a Bronco, same thing, how many people that buy a Mercedes G-Wagon, how many people that buy a Wrangler are actually going to take them off-road? Wrangler, you might get some more people because there are some Jeep fanatics out there. But for the most part, most people that buy these SUVs that have all these off-road capabilities, they never leave they never leave the pavement. Let's put it to you that way. So it is what it is. BB, what's better, Hormel chili or Dennison's? I like Hormel. I've never had Dennison's, so I'm going to go with Hormel there. If Junior and Stuart Haas Racing, I say they should call it SHE Racing, She Racing. I think Ty Gibbs wins at least 2 races, no matter how you feel about him. You have to admit he's talented. Yeah, I don't even dislike him. I think he's a pretty funny kid. Like I said, he's just a kid. So yeah, I like him. I know a lot of people don't like him. I've actually made a video as why people don't like him. Yeah, I get it that people don't like him, but I like him. I think he's a good driver, and anybody that says he's not a good driver, they're letting their dislike of him overpower their rational observations. Donnie S, I admit nothing. LOL says Shaw. BB, that 24 diecast behind you, the black one with the flames. Is that a Byron or Jeff Gordon one? That's a William Byron rookie year. Autographed, I want to say. Yeah, autographed. It's the standard finish rookie year William Byron with the autograph. I didn't even know it was autographed till it got sent to me. So they just threw it in there. Let's see. BB, do you like the Jeep Gladiator? I don't have a problem with it. I tell you what, man. Like the four-door Jeeps, a lot of people when they first came out didn't like them or whatever. I have no problem with it. And now people are sort of skewing the other way. Now that the 4-door Jeeps are out, people don't like the little baby Jeeps, the 2-door Jeeps. I mean, I have no problem with all of them. My only actual problem with a Jeep is that you're going to get CTE from riding in it for too long because they're the roughest riding. I've rode tractors that ride better than those Jeeps. So, like, if I ever bought a Jeep, I would be the opposite of Jeep people. I would spend a lot of money on the suspension to get it to actually ride properly instead of how it actually rides now. Let's see. I will say that Gibbs has kept his nose relatively clean in comparison to how he was in ARCA and Xfinity, says Donnie. Yeah, I think Joey Logano put an end to all that because I think he got into it with Joey Logano and he's learned that the Cup Series guys don't play that game. Ford Bronco Sport goes up against Subaru Crosstrek. I like the Subarus, man. Like don't get me started on that. I think the Subarus are solid, except for that. I hate the Boxer motor because it's a pain to work on for a regular mechanic. He'll agree with you, BB, on the Bronco Sport, says OJ. Larson should feel good that HMS hired him and not SHR, says OJ and Toothpaste. I mean, that's that's a lot of speculation there, because then if SHR has Kyle Larson, do they sort of get the boost where Kyle Larson was as focused as he's ever been when he actually came back? You can play both sides of that, but I think Stuart Haas would be happy to have him, and it's hard to say which way it would go, because if you remember the year that they wanted to get him, that was the 2019 year or whatever. They had just won 10 races. Then 2020, they started going downhill after that. The Rubicon has a 4-1 diff case that a soccer mom will never use, but the decal is killer, says Mike Honcho. That's exactly right. It's all about spending the extra money to get all the extra features, so you get those really cool badges. It's all about getting the really cool badges, letting everybody know what your truck is capable of, but will never actually do in real life. It trips me out, because like the truck I bought, everybody's like, oh my God, like I'm using it like a truck because I bought a truck. Like, oh my God, why are you putting stuff in the back of your truck? You're going to scratch up the bed and all that. I'm like, it's a truck. I bought a truck so I can have a truck. Like, people, I think about things differently than other people, I guess. I'm not going to spend that much money on a vehicle and be scared to use it. Like, I'm not that guy. I will admit one thing. My dislike of Ty Gibbs is totally irrational. It baffles even me, says Shaw. Yeah, sometimes he just triggers people. Like, sometimes there's just a driver that just triggers you as a fan, and you can't really put your finger on it. I'm with you, BB. The 54 wins, multiple this year, and I too like the kid, says Perry. Yeah, I think he's a good kid, and I'm biased to an extent, because I had some friends that worked with him when they were in late model, and they talk very highly of him. So from that perspective, I'm biased a little bit myself. When he was racing over there with Nelson Motorsports, I was friends with some of those guys, and they thought the world of him. BD, are the cars with the CVT transmissions good or bad? Depends on the CVT transmission, OJ and Toothpaste. A lot of the CVTs are so new that they're hard to speak on. I know some of the earlier ones over there with Nissan, you don't want to mess with them. It seems like, and some of the earlier ones with Honda, but it seems like the ones Honda has now are going a pretty long distance. It's an automatic transmission at the end of the day. It's going to be the one of the main things that wears out on your car. But the new ones with Honda, I have experience with, they're pretty good. I've got one that's close to 100,000 miles on it. Poll suggestion: which former champion won't make the playoffs? Busch, Logano, or Truex? Let's see, Busch, Logano, Truex. Busch, Logano. There we go. Which driver doesn't make the playoffs? Busch, Logano, Truex, or Chase Elliott? There you go. And the previous poll question, 56% went with Noah Gragson there out of 74 votes. Let's see. Quattro, appreciate you becoming a member, my friend. Let's see. Did I miss any of those? I think so. All right. Appreciate you there, Quattro. Let's see. Jeep's quality has dropped in the past 2 years or so. Yeah, I've heard of a few friends that are Jeep fanatics talking about you want to get one made before the world shut down, or whatever you want to call it. Wild week for racing this week. 3-wide finish. Junior leaving NBC. Stuart Haas racing, leaving Ford. Most likely Honda leaving Indy and possibly going to NASCAR. Indy charters. Carruth wins. And FS1 misses his pass for the lead. So it's never a race fan. Yeah, it has been it's been an eventful week in motorsports. That is a fact. Let's see. Two-door Jeeps are the only ones. Jeeps, they ride like Cadillacs. Says Steve Ann. Anything about today's race that surprised you? I was really surprised that the Fords fell back like they did. I thought the Fords would really have a lot of speed now that we're at a different type of track. So, and don't get me wrong, Blaney still had a good finish, but I was really, with the speed they showed in qualifying and stuff like that, I was really expecting the Fords to be super fast. So that actually did catch me off guard. BBD like the Cadillac Escalade. I like the original one that was basically just the Suburban, and they put some extra electronics in it, like 99 to 2000. That very first body style, that square body Chevrolet look to it. I like that one. Some of the other ones have been hit or miss as far as the design goes. But would I ever buy one? Absolutely not. They have a lot of electronics problems, like a lot of electronics problems. If you've ever owned a car with electronics problems, that is not something you want to deal with. Quattro, welcome. One of us, says Shaw. once again, welcome aboard, Quattro. Good to have you on board. I'm sure Larson's team will try something radical next week in Phoenix. Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. These few races right here are what you want to win, so you can get that first R&D for Phoenix and see what you got. I can't wait for Larson at the Indy 500. That's going to be super cool, T-Van. I agree with you. I'm waiting for that. Thanks. I'm a new NASCAR fan and have been binging the channel as well as other creators. Shah says, Quattro, well, appreciate it. Good to have you on board, my friend. And I hope you enjoy the sport because you're coming in in my opinion, you're coming in at a good time. There's like a lot of young guys getting started, so you can pick your dude. Scotty Kilmer, not a fan of CVTs like Hondas and Toyotas, though. Not a Hyundai guy, says in between the lanes. Yeah, so, I mean, basically, if you can swing it, always get a manual transmission because they last forever as long as you don't drive them, like a young guy. Martin Truex, or a young person. I'm sure there's some hot rodding women out there that slam gears, too. Martin Truex Jr., not win NASCAR, says Jeffrey. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Right now, the poll, 45%. Saying Chase Elliott doesn't make the playoffs. So that's a bold pick right there. Truex, 36%, Logano, 9%, and Busch also at 9%. Elite, what's up, my man? Elite's dropping a solid video this week, one he's put a lot of work into. So definitely make sure you check out Elite's channel. Celebrate that Larson dub. Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to celebrate that dub. Tyler Reddick was making me nervous there at the end. Like he made it more interesting than I wanted it to be. Personally, I think Truex is done. Just coasting to retirement now. Still coasts pretty fast though. Yeah, like half speed Truex is still better than about half the field, especially in the equipment he's in. BB, the first NASCAR race you ever went to, and the most recent one. I want to say the first one was Wilkesboro, and the most recent one would have been Martinsville. Martinsville would have been the most recent one. Where did Austin finish? Says one wise guy. Austin Dillon finished 14th, and Austin Cindric finished. Cindric got that lap down, and he ended up. Cindric was 29th, and Austin Dillon was 16th, not 14th. I was wrong about that. Eric Jones was 14th. So there you go. There is your Austin updates. BB was the Buick Riviera dope back in the day. I think the styling of it aged, at least the two-door one from the 90s, the last one that I can think of, and I'm thinking of the right car. The two-door Riviera, I don't think it got a lot of press, but if you look at the last Riviera they ever made, the front-wheel drive, supercharged V6, 3.8, the styling of it, I think, aged a lot better. I think the car was actually styled ahead of its time. But yeah, it never took off. Nobody really ever bought them. I personally liked them, but most people don't like that car. They opted for the Monte Carlo or the Pontiac Grand Prix. Oh yeah, I'm going to Bristol for my first race on March 17th and decided to rock with Trackhouse, more specifically Ross. Hey, good pick, man. I think you got a good team and you definitely got a good driver there. And Bristol is always a fun time, so I know you're going to have fun. Take hearing protection because all the tracks are loud, but Bristol is probably the loudest track on the circuit. So make sure you bring hearing protection. If you don't, just go to one of the merch haulers, and just about all of the merch haulers have a little thing right there, and you can get yourself a free set of earplugs. So just in case you do forget them, make sure you grab those, stick them in your ears, because it is loud. A lot of people don't tell you that, but Bristol in particular is the loudest of the loud. Hey BB, all four make the playoffs, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, I'm not saying they won't, but that was the suggested poll question, so I went with it because I think it's a fair poll question, a pretty good one. You always want to know who's going to make it and who won't. Let's see. IndyCar issues is they need 2 or 3 different chassis builders and about 3 or 4 different engine manufacturers. Not how it's run now. Yeah, I agree with you. The way they're running it now, they're trying to save money, and whenever an organization tries to save money, it inadvertently always makes it more expensive, in my opinion. KFB's pit road gremlins continue to be his Achilles heel, says X Dude. 100% agree with you. Cost him in the truck race. It's cost him in just about every cup race this year. Kyle knows how much he has to go and has a tick more when he needed it. Says Duke Chronic for sure. He was managing the gap there for a while, and then he just threw the blocks when he needed to throw the blocks. BB, would you buy a Pontiac Fiero? I would not buy a Fiero. I would not. I don't know if it would be even fun to fit in that car at this particular stage in my life. And B, I wouldn't want to work on anything if it went wrong. I love how Fox shows normal headshots of the truck and Xfinity drivers, but shows cartoon characters of the Cup drivers. That's because they didn't want to spend the budget to turn the Truck Series guys into cartoon caricatures. Napa, BB, would you buy a BMW X5? I wouldn't buy an X5, but I would buy any version of the BMW 3, whether it's the Sport or not, or I should say the M version or just a regular version. I think those are pretty solid cars, actually. The straight sixes last for a really long time, especially made it with a manual transmission. The only thing you got to worry about some of them is in Germany they went with this environmentally friendly shrouding around your electrical wires, and it basically deteriorates and erodes, and you have a lot of electrical problems with them. So you got to be careful on the model. I wish Fox would get rid of the cartoon character thing in Cup. I think everybody does. Bristol is loud with hearing protection. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make sure you got some because it's going to be loud either way. NZ is 1-2 in IndyCar though. New Zealand is 1-2 in IndyCar though. Says Dogfish, talking about Scott Dixon and Scott McLaughlin there. I couldn't imagine going to Bristol without hearing buds. LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. Who is the best nickname in NASCAR? Like of all time, I would say Richard Petty, the King. The King is pretty solid. The Intimidator was always solid. Smoke was pretty good. Thanks for the advice. I'm also getting an upgrade to attend a Q&A with Ross. Oh, that's awesome, dude. And have a spot in turn one. I'm going to make sure my first is memorable. Oh, that sounds awesome. Like you're going to have a good time. That sounds really cool. Definitely make sure you take in all that stuff because that's definitely going to be awesome. And Ross is a cool dude. I'll go ahead and tell you picked a really good one because before he was like huge, like big time Ross Chastain, I always saw him when he was like doing when people would walk up to him and ask for autographs, and he wouldn't just like sign the autograph and like walk away. He'll actually sit there and have a conversation with you. So he's actually one of the cooler. And there's a lot of drivers like that. Noah Gregson's another one that pops to the top of my head. But yeah, definitely you picked a good driver there. I think he's a good solid dude. The flyover at Bristol is insane on your ears, says Steve Ann. Crazy how fast the 24 and the 22 became a non-threat. Impressive job on penalties for the 8 LOL, says SF. BB, is the Pontiac Fiero reliable? I don't think it is. I'd have to go back and look at it. I'm pretty sure that's one that's not reliable, though. Happy for Noah. He can give Legacy the finger, says David Griffith. The Discord server link is right there from One Wise Guy. They pay Cup drivers. They paid to have Cup drivers animated. I just figured the execs had their kids draw them, says Shaw. The Truck Series race winner and the Cup race winner had the same paint job. That was weird. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Also, Bristol has a great name. The last Great Coliseum. It is a great name. And the trophy they give away, the sword, that's really cool, too. They used to have late model races there. And a guy that races at South Boston, Lee Pulliam, he won one of those. He's got him a sword over there. He's over by VIR. That's where Lee Pulliam's shop is at. Just in case you were wondering, I know everybody knows who that is. I'm always appreciative of the shout outs, man. Thanks to Reddick had my heart racing. Yeah, like he was making me nervous, Elite. Both of them, Dirty Air, is you know what it is. Yeah, that's that. Look, I'm telling people like that's probably going to be the bigger story that we're going to miss because the finish was so good. But at some point, you're going to have to do something about the Dirty Air because as these guys figure this out, it's just going to be harder and harder to pass. It's going to be a very similar situation to what we had back in the day. NASCAR has the Kyle and Kyle show. IndyCar has the Scott and Scott show. Says in between lanes. Hey, good point. Denny Hamlin even joked about the cartoons on his podcast once. He even admitted he doesn't have a six-pack like the cartoon shows. Says Napa. Del Mar Sliced Bread is the best nickname. Oh, Sliced Bread was a good one, too, for sure. SVG getting sabotaged already. Y'all, man, yeah, his motor went south or something. So that was definitely a bummer. He's going to be on Kevin Harvick's podcast this week, though, so we'll be able to get the full rundown from him. BB, what's the better NASCAR movie? Cars, Herbie Fully Reloaded, Days of Thunder, or your favorite Talladega Nights? I will go Days of Thunder, Cars, Herbie Fully Loaded, and then Talladega Nights. I know there's a lot of people that like Talladega Nights. I'm just not one of them. Corey LaJoy likes Talladega Nights. So there you go. Corey LaJoy thinks it's accurate to the sport because they all live in big mansions. So he said because they do all actually live in big mansions, it's just like Talladega Nights. I was like, that's a massive leap. That's a massive leap. But if you want to include all the stuff that was in Talladega Nights and say that the Cup Series is just like that because they do live in big mansions. Okay, that was an interesting take. I'm not gonna agree with that one. I think the 24 hurt the engine. He was never the same since Dick Chronic. I think so too. I think you're dead on with that. But that just shows you how good his car was turning because even with an engine that was hurt, he was still able to make a run up there back into the top 10. Scott Dixon is teaching young Marcus Armstrong to keep the Kiwi flag flying, says Dogfish. Chevy 8 through 9 start 8 out of 9 start to the season, even with the old bodies. Yeah, I thought they would be ahead of everybody to start the season. What I'm worried about is the second half of the season on, when Toyota and Ford figure out their stuff better. It could be a situation where the first half of the season looks one way and the second half of the season looks another way. That's part of the fun of it. We're just going to have to wait and see. I agree, Chronic. The 24 was a rocket at the beginning of the race. Rowdy is a good nickname as well. Yeah, Rowdy Bush, that's a good one too. Why is NASCAR so dead set on having the car sealed to the ground with the racing? Just hasn't been as good since 06 with coil binding. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. They seem to be in love with it. Maybe Corey is onto something about Talladega Nights. So he is saying that NASCAR drivers are born in a wrestler's take bathroom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I don't know if what he's saying actually correlates. I will say it was a smart movie for NASCAR to do that full speed. A smart move for NASCAR to do the full speed series. That's how I got into NASCAR. Yeah, I try to tell a lot of people like that. That was a really well done, I guess, documentary series or whatever. I would say it's right on par with the Need for what is it? Drive to Survive. Need for Speed. That's a video game. It's right on par with Drive to Survive. I thought they were both quality. They're done a little bit different, but I thought they were both high quality. And getting it out there on Netflix, it introduces new people to the sport. And that's what I've said for the longest time. Like, watching cars go around in circles, there's only so many people that are going to be interested in that. But if you can see the personalities behind who's driving the car, the same way like you see the personalities in the NFL, you see the personalities in the NBA, you have a favorite player. Like, what you need to grow the sport is have people have a favorite driver. Be like, oh, I saw this guy. He's pretty funny. I'm going to pull for him. So I thought that was cool. And it's interesting that you're a Ross fan out of that, because I'm with you. I thought Ross was the funniest dude. Like, everybody talked about Denny Hamlin, but I thought Ross was the funniest dude. I haven't seen the last one yet, but I thought Ross was the funniest dude in all those, because he was talking about, before I was with Trackhouse, I was eating Chick-fil-A sandwiches every day for lunch, and he's like, I don't know what you do to work out to be a Cup Series driver. So he's just out there swimming in the lake or the pond or whatever. I was like, that, like, Ross's personality showed out. Like, he doesn't really talk that. You don't see that much of him on camera. Let's see. Does RFK make the playoffs this year? Oh, yeah. I think both cars. I got both cars. Only issue with Rowdy as a nickname is KB gave it to himself. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the nickname came from. 24, never had an issue with the engine after the bag. Was a lap down, got the lap back, restarted the tail, got to the top 10, then slid through the pit. Oh, so he slid through the pit box. That's what it was. Got put outside on a restart. So that's what it was. Couldn't get their car to turn on the top, so he couldn't work the top groove there. Delmar Kaufman, NASCAR drivers didn't always live in mansions. They owe a lot of it to the pioneers of the sport, says Delmar Kaufman. That's a fact. So if you ever visit Richard Petty's museum, the actual house that he lives in, I think now, is right there. So you'll see what they used to be rocking in. BB is Raising Cane's the best chicken. I couldn't say for sure. The best nickname are given to you by someone else, typically making fun of you. Yeah, sometimes. Talladega Nights, Days of Thunder, John C. Reilly. Yeah, John C. Reilly is in both movies. Let's see. Also, he's in Dewey Cox. BB, I'm going to my first NHL game next week. Have you been to one? I've been to a Hurricanes game. Rest in peace, Hartford Whalers. I know the Hartford fans are definitely not happy about that, so I understand that. Being a Sonics fan. Cool moment with the Larson's kids running out of dad for sure. Kyle used the name Rowdy as a nod to Rowdy Burns because he was considered a villain. Does Marcus Ambrose have a son? Does he race? Anyone know? I know he's got a family. I don't know if he's got sons or daughters, but I know he wanted to focus on his family, and that's why we haven't seen him at the racetrack. Australian Supercars has a brilliant production. Mark Larko explains everything so well. I need to check that one out then. So if you got the name for it, drop it in there, Dogfish. Ross is a farmer. Plus that Busch Light car is a thing of beauty. Oh yeah, his car is awesome. I agree with you 100%, Quattro. Kyle drove the 51 truck, and the 51 was Rowdy Burns. Has NASCAR actually gained viewers since the Netflix release? I think the start of this season, I think from Netflix and also just the races have been really good. I think that's helped out quite a bit. So I would say they've probably gained a lot of fans. Waltrip lap of Bath. Waltrip's lap of Bathurst. Oh yeah, where he looked like he's putting a fire out with his feet there with the feet cam. Dylan can't seem to buy a good finish even when he and he wrecked a bunch of times too. Dylan can't seem to buy a good finish even when he runs well, says X Dude. Yeah, it looks like he's still got a little taste of the bad luck from last year. BD, what's the worst thing to get at Jack in the Box? Anything on the menu, OJ and toothpaste, as far as health wise. I mean, the food tastes decent. Whalers bringing it back. Yeah, the Whalers, man, they're still mad about that up there in Hartford. BB, do you get a lot of hurricanes or no? The Outer Banks does, and I used to live really close to them. I was probably about an hour and a half away from the beach. But relative to where I live now, we do get them, but they don't come far enough inland typically to bother where I live at. But yeah, North Carolina does get a bunch of hurricanes for sure. All right. Looks like we have reached the end of the chat. So I will check you guys on Tuesday. Until then, peace.